God, I was so out of it. Like at first, but then once I had like that second beer, then I was fine.
You're good.
Yeah, because PBR I think has meth in it.
That's why it smells so good in Oregon. Yep.
Oh wow. So anyways, so the Rum Diary is actually based off of the legendary Hunter S Thompson's book of the same title, The Rum Diary. But the crazy thing about that book is that he wrote it in the 1960s. But I guess when Johnny Depp was living with him during, the making of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the famous Terry Gilliam film, he actually found a bunch of of the papers, rough drafts and everything. So he was the reason it got published in 1998.
Oh wow! Huh.
And then they started filming in 2009, actually on location in Puerto Rico too. So that's pretty. That makes it even better, I think.
Excited to see it was actually filmed where it kind of was based out of.
Yeah.
It wasn't just some stupid beach in LA.
Right, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it wasn't just like a stage production. They actually went on location. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is that the director, Bruce Robinson, not only was it his first film in like 18 or 19 years, but it caused him and Johnny Depp to suspend their sobriety to kind of overindulge more, to get more of the actual effects of, being a drunk. And so I guess after the movie wrapped up, Bruce Robinson has since then been sober, but I think Johnny Depp kind of went off the rails, but we'll get into that a little bit later as we talk about this. So this came out October 13, 2011, and I saw it right after it came out, but I didn't realize, it was new. It was kind of one of those take a gamble when you go to the movie theater. I just chose it by the title because I'm like, at the time I liked rum, and I used to have a diary, so.
Well, I hope you like Johnny Depp, diary.
But so for me, this was a rewatch, and then for you, this was your first time.
Exactly.
Watching
I thought I had seen it in college, but I guess I hadn't because I went to go watch the trailer. I was like, wow, I don't remember any of this, so I don't think I had actually viewed it. But yeah, it was my first time watching it just a few weeks ago, so I'm glad you introduced it and talked about it. But
right, yeah.
I liked it a lot overall.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun movie, and that was, it made me want to drink rum again because that was like my first time drinking rum in like almost 10 years. More
it's
of a whiskey
hard
guy.
To find a good rum. It is. Like if I ever go to Jamaica or Puerto Rico, I'd be down for some local stuff.
Especially in the movie, the Puerto Rican rum, when it shows the bottles, like when it shows like the bowling alley.
Yeah. Well, then it was funny because obviously, I guess Bacardi maybe, I don't know, apparently.
Oh yeah,
Bacardi plant.
They talk about the Bacardi plant in it. It's probably the actual when Bacardi actually made good rum.
Cracked me up. But yeah, that was the first time seeing it, and I enjoyed it a lot with Johnny Depp and everything. I feel like for him, this was a movie that, maybe he had to drink more a little bit to kind of get into character, but he also really felt like this was just him playing himself. I felt like it was so genuine for him. I don't know, he's just kind of a quiet guy, getting into a shitty situation, figuring out how to deal with things.
I almost kind of feel like it was the last movie that Johnny Depp made before he kind of went even more insane.
Yeah, I can see that. I know his movies lately are hit and miss, sadly.
Yeah, I just feel like after Rum Diary, all the movies he did, what was it, Mordecai, and
that was so dumb.
Lone Ranger was probably the biggest load of diarrhea I've ever seen in my life.
One flopped.
I fucking hate that movie.
And then he voiced Ringo, but as an animated character.
Was it Ringo?
Ringo, you're right.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen that.
I never saw it either. But yeah.
But, so...
Anyways.
A lot of people are familiar with the Hangover franchise and, how it portrays, a hangover. But honestly, I think the portrayal of a hangover in the Rum Diary is 100 times better and more realistic than what I've seen in the Hangover movies. Uh-huh. Especially that opening scene where, I just love how it, it opens up with, this, single engine, private jet flying over the ocean with the beautiful music of, Volare by Dean Martin. And so you think, when I first saw the movie at least, I was thinking oh, okay, what is this? This must be Johnny Depp, flying this plane, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But then it just, this guy's not involved in the movie at all, then it just goes to, him waking up in this hotel room just completely hungover out of his mind.
The worst hangover ever.
Yeah, it's not just any, hangover that you can just, whatever, I just need some coffee and to take a beer shit. He has, a stage 20 hangover, with this, one of his eyes is, bloodshot. He's got, lipstick smeared on him.
You have no memory of what happened last night. You already feel like you regret everything.
And just, that look on his face when he pulls the curtains up, and it's just oh my god. That's pretty much how I felt yesterday when I woke up.
That was honestly a very good, opening scene, because it really sets up, you're okay, what the hell happened to this guy? Obviously he had a drinking problem. It really set up a good story. I like it too when he got the eggs in the room service delivery. Good eggs.
Ancient DoorDash.
That's so funny.
I just feel kind of bad when he's like, they look great, get out.
Yeah, get out. I want to eat and drink. And he had like the whole mini fridge torn up because he couldn't figure out how to get in because the key.
I was looking for some nuts, even though I wasn't.
That's so funny.
Well, it's a good thing he couldn't find the key because he probably would have died of alcohol poisoning. He would have probably
overdosed. I mean, there's probably other drugs introduced. And it's funny because I don't even know where that scene actually takes place in the whole scheme of things. I think it was just another random night he had.
I know, yeah, it's like after, when you see that opening scene, you wonder, like, what did he do the night before?
Yeah, exactly.
If it would have just shown, like, a little bit of a clip during the credits almost, and then maybe mixing some of the airplane flight in with it or something.
But, I mean, overall, the movie, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's just him as a journalist.
Yeah, so it starts off,
right?
he's a journalist from New York that moves to Puerto Rico, which I guess for, like, a change of pace or whatever.
I think so. I didn't really talk about that, New change of scenery and stuff.
But the acting in this movie is actually surprisingly like really good. I mean, you know, when we got what's his face, Richard Jenkins. I mean, he's like one of those actors when you see him, you know who he is, but like he's not very well known.
Exactly.
I mean, he was on like the Academy Award-winning movie Shape of Water that came out not too long ago.
Yeah, because same thing. Like I said, I see his face. I'm like, who is that old man?
Right. Yeah, it's one of those guys. It's like you know his face, but you just can never think of the name. And he also played the dad on like Indian in the Cupboard. He played like the FBI agent on Me, Myself, and Irene. He was also on like this like '90s movie called Flirting with Disaster, which is really good.
I've never seen that one.
And he plays an FBI agent, so that's kind of like funny. Seems to be his. But I don't know. He's got some good comedy chops in this movie. I feel.
It's like dry humor. It kind of like that's where it comes around to. Just like
especially when like Johnny Depp first shows up to the newspaper.
Yeah.
And he walks into the guy's office. Lauderman is the name of his character, and he's just like, "Find a little bright in here." I picked him up, but I have a medical condition.
He's like, "I hope you're not an alcoholic. We don't need someone that drinks a lot." He's like,
"What are you, blind?"
Let me just put my sunglasses on a little tighter.
Now that we're in your office, do you have a Super Nintendo? Which side do you lean, Depp? I beg your pardon? Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? Suppose I hit him somewhere in the middle.
That conversation did exist.
I mean, we just, as usual, I usually pulled the Mystery Science Theater 3000 when I watched it with you guys at least.
I love that. Well, the character that I love the most probably in the movie, along with, we'll get into like another character I like, but is Sal, his little
Bob Sala, yeah.
Fucking A, dude, that was so funny.
God, he's probably my favorite character in the whole movie.
He just initially they must have just synced up.
Yeah, they immediately have good chemistry.
Exactly. He sets him up, he brings him in, he's like, watch out for this, watch out for his wig, watch out.
Yeah.
It's like,
damn, don't notice the wig.
It's so funny.
I just love it too when he's like showing the do's and don'ts. I'll bring him up to Hal's like that bar. The hell you will? You take him to the library. Which, by the way, it's funny because Lauderman is smoking a cigar and he kind of looks like a cigar.
He does look like a cigar. That's so funny.
And I just think it's funny how that's just this movie takes place in 1960, so it's like the height of the Cold War and all that stuff, which is why everyone in the movie seems to have communism burgers.
Yes, there's a lot.
Bring that up a lot.
Dude, there's a lot of that kind of stuff and controversial stuff that was stated and stuff. But I like that. It's just funny. Yeah, the whole newspaper thing too, and obviously there was conflict when Johnny Depp's character walks in. Like he could see there's some street protesting going on. So it
he's like, you came in through the front door?
Yeah, exactly. It sets you up in this interesting time of Puerto Rico and stuff. So it really just, without having to be dialogue based, you just kind of watch it and you can kind of figure out what's going on. But
well, I think it's great too when a movie's not too heavily dialogue based. I think it's great to have a mix 100%. Of the ambiance and everything.
It's not insulting to the audience because it's up to you to kind of figure out what's going on and you can kind of watch it and figure it out. And I just like how you can tell how uncomfortable. His name is Paul Kemp, right? Johnny Depp's character. He walks in, he can tell he's uncomfortable. It's hot, it's humid.
He's
hungover.
He's
hungover. He has to take off his cool glasses he wears the whole time.
I just could not imagine going to my first day on a new job hungover like that.
Oh my god, that'd be brutal. And like I said, the humidity, you're just sweating. Yeah. Oh, it was disgusting. You'd feel like shit. And you never really see him drink water. Well, he does drink water.
Out of the fishbowl. He's hungover.
The fish poop. But yeah, it's a great.
It's definitely a good portrayal of a bachelor life at the beginning when it shows him on his way to work, taking the cab, and he's the guy says something in Spanish. He's like, I don't speak Spanish. As he takes a swig out of a mini bottle of the rum, and then just checks out those two girls as he goes by. And I just think it's funny when Sal too is like, you want some coffee? No thanks. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, no, it's totally
that would be the first thing I would want getting to work on the first day, some coffee.
I think that's great. I mean, that'd be such, like you said, it's kind of like a bachelor life because he's obviously not married, he's single, doesn't have kids, and
Well, there's even that part too where he
it.
goes on like the little paddle boat thing.
Yes,
and he's
I
like,
love
why
that.
did she have to happen? I was doing just fine with that.
But I like that part because that's like me. Sometimes you get overwhelmed and you're like, I'm just gonna go somewhere and be quiet. And then he goes, he's like,
fuck all these people.
Are you? He's like, are you?
I'm gonna go bliss out in the water.
He's like, are you a mermaid? No, I'm from Connecticut or whatever she said.
I hear the water's infested with worst pickup line ever.
I know, right?
But I do like when he's like, how about your star sign? But he gets it wrong and says I'm an experienced astronomer when it's actually astrologer.
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. I feel like that's like the first time like Johnny Depp like came in his pants when he saw Amber Heard come out like with the water.
Amber Heard, by the way, kind of looks like a gourmet cupcake that would be at a like wedding or something.
Yeah, and I was shocked like how she looks. She looks completely unrecognizable to me today. She's tan, super skinny, and young, right? Because she was.
Yeah, well, the movie was shot in 2009. I think she was like 23 in that movie.
That's so young. And then he was like 50.
He was like 46, so, you know, the age gap's a little creepy, but,
a little
you know,
weird.
what are you going to do?
And that was their first time that they have ever met, or I guess that was not their first time.
Yeah, they met on set. Yeah, that's where they first...
And that's kind of where they probably were.
And then Johnny Depp left his longtime girlfriend after that.
Yep, for her.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's what I like about the movie too. It does feel like there is real chemistry there, and you can see that from an outside point. But yeah,
but even though the guy who plays Hal Sanderson, Aaron Eckhart, but like even though he's like a total like crook and a scumbag in the movie, it's like I still kind of felt bad for him towards the end.
Yeah,
like when he like throws the clothes over the gate, and he's like, enjoy her.
Well, and that's okay. That pissed me off so much because I was talking. Yeah, she was drunk. They go to this party thing. They go to this party thing and they get crazy, and Aaron Eckhart's character is upset with Johnny Depp because he brings Sal into this whole thing. He's like, we had a contract, you can't let him know.
He's such a buzzkill.
I know.
Like, did you bring Bob to the island? I know you're blissing out right now, but I'm just gonna kill your buzz like I do every other time. Because it's like, they're at that party at his house, and he's like, we're gonna have a business meeting now that your buzz is kicking in.
It's just, and I understand both sides, but it's also really frustrating. Like, you're in Puerto Rico, you're gonna go have fun. But yeah, then, I don't know what happened to Amber. Like, she gets in with the locals and starts dancing.
Like that. It's called like carnival or something, like some kind of festival.
I mean, they're all drunk and they just want to take advantage of this white chica. But that part was pretty. But then then Aaron Eckhart was kind of an ass, and
I know he's just being his usual buzzkill. Like, I'll rephrase that. We don't want to go to the show or something when they go see that band playing.
Yeah, and then she ends up kind of getting on with Johnny Depp, kind of not, and then she leaves.
It's funny because going back to when you use the R word, like I read the book like maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, and you know, per usual, the book is always better than the movie, of course. But yeah, I think in the book, from what I remember, like she ends up spending like 3 days. It's like 3 days until they finally see her again. Because she ends up
crazy.
Like, you know, going a little overboard and partying.
Well, she was probably taking shots with that Bacardi shit. That was unfiltered. What is that called?
But there's just like there's like one little subtle reference to the book in the movie. The part where it's like you two know each other. Like when he first meets Chanel at like the Hal's beach house.
Yes, because
he's like, I thought maybe we met on the plane because that's where they did meet.
And I read that as a trivia thing. Yeah, exactly. They had that interaction.
But there's like another part of the book that I remember that I wish would have been in the movie. Like, there's like a part where Johnny Depp's like on the beach at like sunrise, basically, and he's like talking about how he loves like that essence, like of the morning air, and how like, you know, like looking forward to the day and like not knowing what lies ahead sometimes with that good feeling. So I wish they kind of would have put more of that in the film.
Yeah.
Like maybe just more like, I don't know, scenes like on the beach. I guess. Like
I agree.
A little bit maybe like more like subtle dialogue or just like mellow.
I agree with you. I feel like it was definitely more there just as a background piece, really. But
right, yeah.
And I mean, I do like how I love the scene where they go to I don't know what they're actually doing, but Sal takes them out in his little like Fiat Mini Cooper thing, and they go to that little like,
Cafe Cabrones.
Yes, I like
which
that
means
scene.
It's Spanish for coffee bastards.
Yeah, I like that scene, even though Sal's like, give me a steak, kitchen.
I can relate to Bob Sal's character in that regard because that just brought me back to like playing gigs like back in my early 20s and like leaving late at night and being starving to death. And being super irritable because I was just like annoyed.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I couldn't find anywhere to eat.
Exactly. It's like, well, what else are you guys doing? Obviously, the kitchen's only closed for us because we're not locals. But yeah, that causes a whole scene. But I just like that whole like I don't know, it's just a cool place I'd probably like to go.
Mhm.
And that bar, the bar on the pier that they all go to.
Oh yeah, Al's. I think it is. Yeah, I think it's called Al's. But yeah, we were saying that it's kind of like a little bit of like a McMiniman's type bar,
yes.
only better.
I think that'd be fun. I would totally enjoy something like that. You got to find those local places.
The burgers look good too. Like every single time I see that movie, I want a burger immediately.
It's funny because every time I think, I'm like, why aren't they eating tacos?
Right? Yeah. I know.
Burgers? What? Yeah. Okay. But I like that because it just feels more authentic, I guess, overall for the experience. But what's another favorite scene that you like?
Some of my favorite scenes are more of like the ones with Bob and Kemp. Like particularly the one where they buy acid from Moberg, which by the way, I'll go into him after this, but. Okay. I love the scene where they drop the acid and they're like, they put it in their eyeballs or whatever, and they have like all the candles lit and they're just kind of sitting and chilling and drinking rum or whatever. And I just love how they're sitting there and Paul Kemp's just like, is it bullshit? Like it's just like, how long's it been since we took it? And you could tell Sal is like kind of feeling it, but he just doesn't care. He's just like, whatever, man, just feel it out. He's just like, I don't know. A while? I kind of look like a taco.
I think they were like even trying to get into the Bacardi because it wasn't working. They feel like it wasn't working or something.
Well, I think it's because this is just me when it comes to consuming psychedelics such as like mushrooms or edibles or something, people normally will be like, oh god, I'm freaking out, I'm tripping out, and that's why he's like, drink some rum, because it'll neutralize the high, like even if you smoke too much weed. But aside from that, I just love that when they start they start tripping in the apartment, but then it goes to a shot of them walking along like the pier of the water during the storm and everything. I do like
that part, exactly.
And I just like how Bob Salad's like just sipping the rum, and then Johnny Depp is just like his character's on a kind of a little bit of a different wavelength.
Exactly.
Especially the part where I do like it when he's like, that explains it. Explains what? Us in the world. And then he says the thing about like animals or like humans claim to have a god but act like they don't have one.
That was my favorite quote. When they said that quote, I was like, I love that quote. I have it on my phone. I should have brought it. But it's like, humans all believe in a god, but then they act like they don't have one. And there was another line. I was like, I love that. That's actually really deep. No one but you. That's very good.
But I think it's funny. It's also kind of funny, and I didn't notice it until I rewatched like the second half of it this morning. Is that after he says that, Bob Salah just walks away, just like, okay, man, you're getting a little too gay for me right now.
He's like,
he was on a whole other level of bliss. I mean, I get it. I think Johnny Depp his character was going into that introspective nightmare that psychedelics can bring.
Well, and I kind of like that though, because I feel like that, like I said before, is like that's like a true Johnny Depp moment. I feel like he would say something like that. I like that a lot.
And it is a good transition to how it goes into him writing.
Yes, it's true.
The column and everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like his whole purpose in the end. And how to come to expose everything. But I like that part. But it was so cheesy watching it because he's like looking at him. He's like, and the tongue comes out when they're on the acid. And he's like, put it back in or whatever. Don't let it out.
Your tongue belongs to Satan.
And the CGI was just so cheesy.
Oh, it never did drugs before.
Like, for 2000,
not that I have. So Giovanni Ribisi, I think overall he steals the show in the entire movie.
Every freaking time he comes on the scene, I'm like, yes. He's just so fun.
I just love what Bob Salah's character says of him when they first show him in the beginning, where he's like wearing the sunglasses at the bar, drinking a Budweiser. Just because it seems like his character is like frying on edibles, but he's like, well, I could either be at home or I could just chill here and not be bored, or I'll just be bored here but not be at home.
Well, it's funny because he's like a literal like a roach you can't kill, because he keeps showing up to the newspaper and his boss is like, why can't I get rid of you? I can't fight you. He's like, you can't fire me.
I've been on unemployment for too long, Latterman.
So funny. You can't get rid of him. And he's just like, I mean, in the end he ends up being really loyal, but it's just like you kind of question him, but he's actually just like he's just a druggie, but he's also like fun guy.
Well, the thing is too, like when Bob Sal says like the entire substructure of his brain is eaten away with rum. Like I'm surprised, like he's actually very coherent and intelligent for how drunk he always is. Like,
and like it's really bad now because everything's cancel culture. But I love that he listens to like Hitler music.
Oh yeah, especially
in his chair
when he's like venting about Latterman, and he's like, "I am the death machine. You're in a big fucking movie." And he's just like, should we have some Adolf? Because to me, I just think it's like his alcohol kicks in. And he's like, who wants to listen to Metallica?
It's so funny. I love that so much. It's just like, it's a fun character. Like I said, every time he comes on the scene, it steals the show. He's always got the red eyes because he's drinking too much. Probably the what is it? Is it menthol that you drink? The alcohol where it gets like
ethanol.
Ethanol when it's not like filtered.
And he's like 400
totally,
proof. He's like,
dude.
there's no such thing as 400 proof alcohol.
I would just like, oh, you'd just be dead. He'd be dead for days.
Well, I just like it too when they buy the acid from Moberg, and he's like, they give it, the FBI gives it to communists.
Yeah.
Gets communists high, and he's like, why would the FBI get communists high? That I can't help you with.
I figured it was like, when I first watched it, I was like, it has to be acid. It was like a true serum kind of thing. But yeah, that's just funny how he's just, I don't know, he's a survivalist. He can like go out and figure out where things are.
Right,
I love that so much. And then the part with like the apartment is just no water, like it's just
I know, yeah. And then he's like, I got a
apartment.
TV, a fridge.
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought you said you had a TV. I said, I kind of have a TV, aka I'm in denial.
It's across the way. It's just so funny when they're watching TV.
Oh, yeah, like
together
the
with the binoculars.
Nixon, what is it, the Nixon-Kennedy debates, I think?
I think that's what it was, yeah. But yeah, there was one morning when he woke up and he wanted, Johnny Depp's character wanted water and he couldn't find it, so he had to drink out of the fishbowl. But I like that part too, because it's like, oh, been there, like, I need freaking water. It's like you're too, like, hungover to even drink water.
Well, I just think it's funny too when he's like, I have a mouth like a desert or something, or like a tongue. He's like, you want a beer? Do I want a beer? No, I do not.
They were driving the car, and it was so funny. It's like, dude, just take the freaking beer. It's better than nothing. And he's like, nah.
I know. It's like at that point, he's like dove that deep into alcohol.
Yeah.
So you might as well just
keep
go all
going.
the way.
That's
be ambitious about it.
Best way to fight a hangover is just keep drinking. That's what I do on the weekend. I love the scene where after their little car gets destroyed the next day and they have to drive together.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is pretty funny. Trying to act normal.
That was so funny as shit ever.
What the hell's wrong? I suddenly realized how much I like you. What do you think is wrong? There's something wrong with the axle.
Johnny Depp's just sitting there bouncing on him. I was cracking up. It's just so goofy, but it was just like nonchalant.
Yeah, the only thing about this movie is like, I just feel like the pacing's a little messed up.
I can see that for sure.
Like, I don't really like the romantic aspect of it either. I feel like it kind of fucks up the flow.
That's true. It is true.
Like, especially the part where it plays like that corny like jazz music when they're like driving the car when he's like, I need you to pick up Chanel and bring her here by 6 or something.
That was weird. You're right. That was weird.
I bet you'll scream before me. It's like, this is just dumb.
Kind of dumb. It was a little too much. I agree. It's like he's way too trusting of. Obviously, he knew Johnny Depp wanted to have sex
Pluck her
with her.
chicken.
Pluck her chicken. Yeah. And it was funny because you had talked about like, I don't guess we could talk about like outfits. That was one outfit.
Oh yeah, flamethrowing outfit category. So for me, I honestly pick Johnny Depp's character. I think he's crushing it the most.
I agree, and I can see that too, but I also really like Chanel's character. Is it Chanel or Chanel?
Oh, Chanel, yeah.
Chanel, and it's a weird name. But I love it when she's their first
she dresses very classy.
Yeah, very classy, and she comes in the first party, and she kind of sits next to Johnny Depp with like the governor or mayor guy, that guy, who had too much to drink. And she has this beautiful like corset top that's like beaded, and it's just like, it's really pretty. It fits her really well. And the red lipstick, she's like a bold lipstick. Yeah, so I always thought she looked really good.
Yeah.
And then when she was,
by the way, it's funny because you mentioned that part where she's with like the Zimberger, the guy that's like super drunk, and he's like, the only way to come to terms with communism is to destroy it. Like, you can just tell that guy is frying on alcohol. Like, to the max, which is good, you know, he's in Saturday mode.
Oh, yeah, he's in Saturday. He's happy, he's gonna get a resort bill.
That's why I hate it when Sanderson's like, no more for the colonel, he's blissing too hard.
It's like, who gives a shit? You're at a freaking party,
yeah, it's like, dude, it's a
Who
party,
cares?
and he's, you know, whatever, maybe he's speaking the truth.
It's so stupid.
I just like how his wife's like, that's right, you tell it, honey.
I love that part though too. There's like a lot of weird dry humor. It's like Johnny Depp humor when he's looking out at the telescope over and he sees Amber Heard.
Oh yeah. That part's a little weird.
It's weird, and then like the mother and father comes. It's like, oh, have you been on that boat before?
They're always like just Zimberger and his wife.
Yeah. And
like, we've all been down here. It's like, okay, yeah, sexual
innuendo.
It's
just so weird, all the sexual innuendos, because it just makes him feel so awkward. But
yeah, Zimberger. I always thought that was like kind of creepy. The part where he's like, just to make sure we're all sitting in the same jacuzzi in case a turd floats up.
Yeah, that was weird.
Just when they're going over like the contracts and everything and the confidentiality agreement.
He was just, I don't know, in the end
he was funny, but he was also kind of he was a psycho.
He was. I mean, really, it was all.
He's a very believable character too, which he's kind of like falls in the underrated actor category of that movie.
I always get him confused.
Because I honestly don't think that Amber Heard is that great of an actress.
No,
in my opinion.
She's totally just all for looks.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, she was just eye candy, and then like even Aaron Eckhart's like he plays a good scumbag, and I've seen him in a few other movies where he plays like a nice guy, so he's okay.
It is weird to think how they got this cast. I think Johnny Depp was perfect, and then
well, I just love that a lot of them, like anyone involved in this movie, I think is great in my opinion, just because it's like it was kind of a more kind of falls in that category of like independent films.
I could see that. Yeah. Exactly. Kind of like, I mean,
Because
it's like
I
a
don't think this movie did very good at the box office.
I don't think it
if
probably
I recall
did.
correctly.
Well, like, yeah, because I thought I had seen it. Most Johnny Depp movies, especially at that time, kind of I mean, we talked about that, kind of did decent. I mean,
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it really probably did well at all.
Yeah.
But the thing that, like, going back to pacing, the thing I hated was, in the end, it was like they're building this up. He's trying to save this newspaper, put out all this, like, notice about there's corruption in this resort, and he's trying to get it printed on the paper. And then it doesn't work out. They find out the printing doesn't have the mechanisms or the parts they need, and then he just leaves. And then Johnny Jessica just leaves on a boat, leaves his friends behind in Puerto Rico.
It's a little anticlimactic.
I was like, that happened fast, exactly. And he goes, like, oh, has a happy ending with Amber Heard's character.
Right, yeah, he gets married to her, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it would have been better if they saved the newspaper.
I agree. I feel like
they just stayed
longer.
Because I felt bad for Bob Sal's character then because Kemp leaves, and it's like they were pretty good friends.
Exactly, that's what I felt like, too.
And then he's stuck with Moberg's character.
I know, it's exactly on the dock. They just left him. I was like, I hated that ending. And then just like little over, dialogue ending. I was like, wait, so he gets a happy ending? Oh, the one part that threw me off that was really random was the transvestite voodoo lady. The whole cockfighting thing. That thing was weird.
She puts the curse.
That was weird. That was kind of a weird part, but I understand why, because they needed the money. But it was weird to curse this chicken cockfighting.
Well, that's the thing. If they would have had more, it was a strange scene. But if they would have taken out the romantic part and put more things like that, and even the part where Moberg's hanging out in the apartment with them and they're trying to figure out a way to get money or something.
Right.
And he's like, we're out of rum. I don't know, just little shots like that.
I agree, yeah. I think you said the editing and the pacing was kind of odd, but I think overall it's still a good movie to watch.
Still a very fun movie.
I just like it because, like I said, Johnny Depp's character, I love the scenes and all this and that, and I don't know, it just looked pretty.
Oh, yeah. So, who was your least favorite character in the movie? Because I got something good on this.
On the side? I mean, honestly, just because of the character, it's probably Aaron Eckhart's character.
Oh, yeah, Sanderson,
but that's all I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like a lot of the characters in the movie didn't like a lot of him, but I don't know, I thought he was pretty funny.
Oh, hell no, I liked him. He was funny. And he was definitely he was kind of an ass because he kind of knew the newspaper was gonna.
Well, especially the part where him and Kemp are just chilling in the office, and he's like, "All right, don't get angry. It's hot outside. You want to play some Mortal Kombat? Drink some scotch? Don't read me like that. You know I'm a Street Fighter."
It's like he understood. Yeah, it was like he understood. And it's like, I dealt with it.
Well, even the part too where he's like, "This is America." He's actually right because, to my recollection, it was 1917. You said when I remember you read it during the movie.
Of the newspaper.
I'm not sure. Oh, well, I guess I could just put a subtitle in. But if I remember correctly, I guess it became a part of America in 1917.
Puerto Rico, yeah. I think it was something like that.
Yeah, that's just Steve off to the corner watching us.
Our manager.
Yeah, he's our manager. Making sure that we mess up more. But I mean, Sanderson, of course, I hated him.
Yeah, he was, just his character, I think
he was just so, insecure. Just kind of looked like a mozzarella cheese stick. I just he's always everyone in this movie is microdosing too, constantly drinking and smoking cigars. He just is pulling a Keith Richards when he pours the little bit of scotch and he's like, "It's an ocean of money, Paul.
Yeah,
even when I'm tripping, I'm still talking about money. Isn't that what you want to talk about?"
Yeah, he just takes him and he's like, he just uses Paul Kemp. That's all he does. You're gonna print all this stuff about our resorts, and that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about friendships or love interests. But yeah, I don't know. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend seeing it. It's a great movie to watch.
Yeah. Highly underrated.
It was a little long. Was it
it's 2 hours right on the nose. Yeah. I just think if it would have been cut to I think it could have been an hour and 40.
Yeah,
still
I agree with you.
Been able to cram enough information in there.
But anyways,
like they say in the YouTube business, hit the like and subscribe button. Dakota Johnson should leave Chris Martin and marry me. Well, that's just my sappy
break for Sasquatch
romantic theory.